Welcome to this new live stream. And today I just had so much I'd had to come to you today so that we can talk about have a transmission on something that was so much important. And here we talk about identity reinvention, and we have said so many times, but let me say it again that it is not a one-time thing, it is a complete, whole process that you are making. And so you in this journey of identity reinvention, there are a lot of things that you come to reflect. We also talked about the different phases when we come to identity reinvention. And so today I wanted to talk about something. What if your story was not your story? You know, maybe you are not aware, maybe you have started to be aware. You are who you are today in every domain, like your reaction, your action, what pleases you, what angers you, what, because of the story that you have been telling yourself since the day you were born. What if you realize that most of the things that you think that happened to you, oh, I had a father that was absent. Oh, I have a mother that was not there emotionally. Oh, I was born from a poor background. Oh, I was in an abusive family. Oh, I'm born in a poor or third world country. Oh, I did not have the degree, or I have too much degree. Oh, like all those stories that you told yourself that were passed down to you due to your determinisms, whether it's genetic, whether it's environmental or experiential. What if all that was just a movie, and you've been caught up in the movie, so much identifying yourself to one of the character that you thought you were that character, and you started living your life according to that character, and therefore having the experiences of that character, the results of that character, the limitations of that character, because of your identification, because you have forgotten that it was just a movie you were watching. You are not part of the movie, you are not an actor. You were watching the movie. So at any point in time, you could turn off the TV, turn off the screen, but you were not aware of all that. And so you have been living all these decades in your life, identifying yourself with a character that is not you, taking upon yourself beliefs that are not yours. And therefore, because you have identified so much to that character, you started living the character, having the experiences due to that belief that you are the character, and the limitations that came with it, whether it's in your health, your relationships, your finances, your mind, and all the stuff. What if I was to tell you that most of the things that you've been telling yourself are just stories? The same way you watch a movie, and you may enjoy the movie, you may laugh, you may cry, or whatever the case is, but you are very much aware that it's just a script. And that if you want, and which may be part of the reason why you are here today, to have an identity shift, a reinvention of yourself. Yes, you are grateful for whatever you have been able to fulfill in that mindset that you are that character, and that erroneous belief that you are in the movie, but you realize now that this is not who you are, and there must be some more, so much more in you that you have never even met who you are. And you realize suddenly that you have been living thinking that you are in the movie, thinking that you are this particular character in the movie when you are not. And you decide to start the journey of discovering who you are actually. And therefore, anything that has looked like it has happened to you, you now look it as an observer and say, it was just a story. It was just a script. It has never happened to me. I was watching the movie and I just caught up in thinking that the movie is talking about me. But it was never me. It was not programmed to be me. It was not programmed that I will identify to the movie so much. It was not planned that I will identify to the movie so much. It was not planned that I would think so much that this is me, that I will find myself stuck because I'm thinking that a character, a personage is me. Oh God, what's happening with this dress? Is me. So that's what I wanted us to share today, to transmit to you today. And to decide that the reactions that you are having, or the fears or the doubts or all that, that are the product, the conclusion of you thinking that you are this character, of you thinking that, oh, so and so happened to me, so and so happens in my family, so and so happened to people of my region, so and so happened to people of that are having this background as me. And you realize that, wait a minute, I've been watching a movie and thinking that that's who I am. I've been watching a movie and identify so much to the movie and the script and the storytelling of the movie that I thought that this is my story. But today I'm realizing it has never been mine. And because it has never been mine, I can drop it any day, anywhere. And you start reminding to yourself, when your mind is bringing these things back to you, to say, this is why you can never raise the floor in your finances. This is why you can never raise the floor in your relationship. This is why you can never raise the floor in 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 your health. This is why you can never go to this point, do this point, because of this, that, and the third. And you remind to yourself, no. You remind to your mind, no. That has never been my story. It was a movie I was watching. It has never happened to me. Rejection, I've never experienced it. I'm the daughter that my father has always wanted. Bullying, it has never happened to me. I've always been cherished, approved, accepted wherever I show up. And so you start rewriting your story. Let me rephrase, rewriting that which you had accepted so far as your story. You start rewriting it. You start rewriting it. And so you understand how that story you have been telling to yourself as yours, and you have been embracing as yours, and you have used that story now as that story has become the reason why your mind is telling you cannot afford this, you cannot have this type of relationship, you cannot have this type of body, you cannot have this type of life, because of the story that you have embraced as yours. But what will happen if we ditch the story and we say, no, it has never happened to me? You know that thing, this, that. No, no, it was just a movie I was watching. It's not my story. It's not mine. I don't have to accept it because it's not my story. It's not my story. What will happen? What will actually happen? So I came here to remind us that there's a lot of stuff that we have identified ourselves with. There's a lot of things that we have said, oh, this is my story, this is what has been happening in my life, and we have allowed these imaginations, because even the science will tell you that most of the things that we think that has happened to us, 70% of it is already distorted in our mind. Either we are exaggerating the thing, or we are reducing we are reducing in the recall of the event. So either we are exaggerating the events as they have happen, or we have the tendency to um, diminish and say, no, it was not a big deal. So either way, our memory never keep the events the way they happen. Either you go higher, exaggerate, or lower and say, no, it was not really that bad. But at the end of the day, whatever choice we make, it is always like that story will actually impact us. Because it will tell us, the story that we will allow will tell us what we can afford, what we cannot afford, what we can dream about, what we cannot dream about, what we can attain and what we cannot attain. And because we are co-creators, Whatever we believe and whatever we are persuaded of becomes our reality, becomes our experiences. Whether we like it or not, that's just it. So the story we have been telling ourselves is very, very important. The story to which we identify is very, very important because it determines how far we will go, to which extent we give ourselves permission to do or not to do. And now when we discover that this story that we've been telling ourselves was just a lie, because we have identified ourselves with the movie, we forgot that it is a script, it's a storytelling that had actors, that has figurants behind the acting. There was there is a producer, there is a director, and so we don't have to identify to those things that have happened as our story, as us, because it's those stories that we tell to ourselves that are actually causing the result that we have in our lives now. It's those stories that we told ourselves that are giving us the report why we cannot have it all. It's those stories. It's those stories. So that's what I wanted to remind us today. You have been living in a movie and thinking that that's your story, putting upon yourself the consequences of the story as yours, and living according to the dictats of that story. Telling yourself, my story is this, that, and the third. That's why I cannot do this. That's why I can do this. That's why I cannot afford this. That's why I can afford this. You know. So that's it. That's what I had for you today. Remember, take back the pen of your story and rewrite your story. It's yours. You can rewrite it. In fact, you have the duty to rewrite it. Because so far, you have accepted a story written by other people. You made the conclusions on the base on other people's behavior or non-behavior, action or non-action, to say this is who you are, this is who you are not, this is what you can, this is what you cannot. But take back the power and realize, first of all, that anything and everything that had been happening to you, it was just, you were in a movie and you are watching the movie. Until today, you are watching your life. And you can decide that, become aware that yes, it was a movie. This is not who you are. Therefore, the movie cannot come and determine for you what you can and what you can't. Because it was a movie, by the way. Your story is not necessarily your story. And it's so important, the story that you tell yourself, because it will determine the result, the outcomes of this life for you. What is the story that you have accepted? Look at the story and look at the result that the story has produced in your life. If you don't like the result, change the story. Just change the story. It's in your power. It's not only in your power, it is your right. So that you tell yourself the story. You become fully persuaded of the story that will produce the outcomes that you desire. Okay, guys, I'm leaving you now. We'll meet up again tomorrow. Bye-bye.